How many of you out there have seen these giant vegetable growing competitions? Of course, we've all seen the giant pumpkins because people down south, especially here in the US, love to grow those giant, like 2,000-pound pumpkins. And if you followed this channel for any length of time, you know about the Dorset Naga Challenge, where I'm trying to grow Ricky and Julian as big as I possibly can. And that is still going on. But how many of you out there that are here in the US especially know anything about giant onion growing competitions? Over in the UK, it's a big deal. People like to grow their onions, and I love to grow my onions. If you've watched this channel for any length of time, you've seen my videos. While I haven't tried to grow them in any kind of competition, I always try to grow the biggest vegetables that I can. And if you go back and look, this year I focused on growing as many as I could in a 4-foot by 3-foot bed. And I got 70 some onions out of that. And if you watch the year before that, I planted them out in my raised beds that constantly get new compost all the time, and they were done in the hugelkultur method. And those things just got ridiculously big for my area and for what I was doing. But almost a year ago, somehow I came linked up with Duncan from Coastal Gardens Northwest, and he lives over in Wales. Him and I started conversing back and forth in the comments, sending emails, that kind of thing, and I started seeing what they're doing in the UK. And in the UK, they're having a ton of fun growing big vegetables. They have actually been nice enough to invite me into one of their competitions. Pete is the one that graciously gives all of his time to organize all this, which there needs to be more people out there like you, Pete, because that's a lot of work. I know it's a lot of work, so anything I can do to help make it easier on you, you just let me know. Here's what they do. They have two categories, using grow lights and not using grow lights. But the stipulation is you have to use the Alizé onion from Foster Seeds, which is in the UK. The laws kind of go back and forth, and sometimes it's hard to get seeds from the UK over here. I've been lucky enough that I got them from Chili Chump before, but I got really lucky this year, and Pete sent me the seeds to compete in this year's competition. Not only did he send me the competition seeds from Foster Seeds, he sent me his Joe Atherton seeds, which are supposed to be a really good onion. So I'm super excited to grow both, and I want to say thank you, Pete, for having me. This is going to be a ton of fun, and I'll take the best swing at it I can. I find myself fascinated with the UK anyway. If you know me, you know that half my family is from over there. My mom's side of the family immigrated over here from England when she was just 2. So growing up around my grandparents, they still did things very traditional to England, and I've always found myself drawn to that. So I really think this is cool that I get to actually compete with a bunch of really nice people over there that just have a love for growing big vegetables. For all my friends over here in the States, if you're interested in this kind of thing, we're going to be hashtagging every video that we do with GOGC 2526 this year. You can also look up last year's too, 24-25. And if you get to where it's something that you really like, check the description and get in contact with Pete, or let me know. I'll get you in contact with Pete, whatever works for you. And you too can join the world famous home of the giant onion. So today is just me documenting. It's the day to sow my seeds. It's October 15th, which is normally the predicted first frost date for my area. It's been raining for days, and we finally got a sunny day that I can do this outside, because I didn't want to be the one doing my seed planting indoors, even though they will be under lights inside. So my mix isn't too crazy. I do my own compost, and I've been really concentrating on my compost for the Dorset Naga Challenge for next year. So I mixed my homemade compost with perlite and peat moss, and that's the way we are going for this challenge. And just like all my other vegetables and all my seed starting videos that are out there already, you know I like to use these 4-inch trays. There's quite a few reasons that I like these 4-inch trays, but one of the main ones is all you have to do is cut out this corner one. You can fill up this bottom tray and you can bottom water. And if you look, they're a really good size for something that's going to stay in here for quite a while. Something I haven't talked about too much for the people who followed my channel for any length of time, I don't push down on the compost and peat moss. I put some in and I just shake it back and forth, and let it naturally compact. But you don't want to pack it too tight, you just want to get rid of those air pockets. It says we have approximately 60 seeds in here. We have 18 different seed cells. So I'm going to put 2 seeds in every seed cell. And it does look like I got the correct seeds. I've watched a couple of your videos out there where you got something else. I've seen a lot of people say that onions about 1/4 of an inch deep. That's probably right. I don't put a whole lot on top though, but I just put it right there in the middle so when I pat it down, it all works to the outside. And just so you know, when you see me patting these, I'm bridging across and I'm hitting the top, plastic to plastic, so it just basically taps it down and vibrates it in. As these age, the soil will compact down and then I can add more on top. For all my seasoned onion growers out there, yes, normally I fill a big tub and just sprinkle them all over the top, let them get big, pull them apart, and do it that way. But anytime I'm growing for the biggest one, I do it this way, because I know that one of my raised beds is only going to handle 5 or 6 of these. So I'm going to slowly whittle it down. I'm going to let these grow up, I'll get rid of the weakest, and I'll whittle it down until we're down to the 5 or 6 biggest out of the bunch. And those will be what ends up going in my ultra soil over there. Let's take these to my indoor seed starting station. I'll kind of give you a quick view of what's going on in there, and then we will call this competition underway. Okay, let's turn this light down for the video. So this is my small little seed starting area that I have inside the house. It's just a utility room that's on the back entrance of my house. And I hung the nice light up in there. Of course, I have my AeroGarden going too. But this is where I start seeds off to begin with. And then they move to the tents that are out in the garage. Then they go to the greenhouse. Now, just for the record, I start fertilizing from day one. I use a very weak mixture from the beginning before the seed even sprouts. So it's already in there when it's ready to run. I try to keep my water at a 6.5, 6.4, but anywhere between 6 and 6.5 for the pH. And I'm putting it in a little bit warm at 75 degrees, 76 degrees right now, so it'll absorb up into that peat moss just a little bit better. Anymore, pretty exclusively, I use the General Hydroponics Flora series, the Micro, the Grow, the Bloom, and their pH down. And then I always keep, and I keep it at pH 6, 6.5 as well, but I always keep a spray bottle here because multiple times a day I mist from the top. I know some people think it's a little strange that I use hydroponic nutrients in soil, but I've just noticed that it just seems like the quality's a little bit better, maybe because the roots are hanging directly in a hydroponics solution, so everything has to be pretty exact. I started using General Hydroponics a few years back and I haven't stopped. I have had unbelievable success. Something I probably should have talked about more in the beginning of the video too is, yes, my channel is, and I go by the chili prepper. I like to grow giant chilies or peppers. But I'm in western Colorado, almost on the Utah border at 4,600 feet above sea level. We are not as bad as what you normally see when you see Colorado weather. When you see all this crazy snow, that's a little bit, that's 2 hours, 3 hours east of me up on Vail Pass and up over to Denver. Over here, we are considered the high desert, so we do get pretty cold at night, but our winters are absolutely much more mild than what you see on the news. My temperatures aren't typically too bad, and we don't get a lot of snow over here either. So hopefully that'll give me some kind of fighting chance in this competition. Again, I want to thank Pete and everybody else who welcomes me in. Again, we will be hashtagging the GOGC 2526. Anyone who follows and subscribes to me from that hashtag that's doing this competition, I guarantee, leave me a message and I will subscribe to you back. I want to watch exactly what you're doing as well. So good luck to everybody. Thank you again, Pete, for including me in this awesome competition. And hopefully we get some more people over here in the States that want to join everybody over in the UK. And as I always say, you don't have to be a prepper to be prepared. I'll see you on the next one.